Rambam. We continue in the laws of Sukkah. We're holding my Sukkahs. Chapter 6. Okay. Women, slaves, and minors, right? As we've explained many times, slaves means as a very kind gesture in Torah. A person who is so destitute doesn't own even the shirt on the back that they could sell themselves to a master who has to take care of them. Who, if he only has one pillow, the slave gets it before the master. Mm-hmm. And as the Talmud says that the sages say in the Talmud that when you have a slave, you've bought yourself a master. All right. So are freed from fulfilling the mitzvahs of Sukkah. Why? Because they're time-bound mitzvahs for women, and women are not bound by time. They're beyond time, beyond space. Timtum and androgynous are obligated because of the doubt concerning their status, right? That's their statuses are they male or female, and this is not by choice. Just they've got genitals of both, right? Similarly, a person who is half a slave and half free is obligated because you could be owned by two people and one person sets you free. And when you set free then a non-Jewish slave, right? Mm-hmm. Then that non-Jewish slave becomes Jewish. But he's only half freed, but yet you're still in such an instance. Okay, a minor who does not require his mother's presence at the age of 5 or 6 is obligated to fulfill the mitzvah of Sukkah according to rabbinic decree to train him in the performance of mitzvahs, right? By the way, this is an important law. You know why? Because when we sit in the Sukkah and you have a balcony, like I have in my Sukkah, there's a balcony, right? So, and it's raining. So at the halacha, we will see is that, if it's raining, you can eat inside. Our custom, Chabad custom, is we eat anyways in the sukkah, right? Mm-hmm. So you'll have the women sit under the balcony and the men sit in the sukkah proper. That way, first of all, the family's together. Mm-hmm. The women don't get wet. And by the way, women like that they don't have to sit on the rain. Yeah. And guess what? Men like to sit in the rain. Yeah. If you ever noticed, they like it. You know why? Women are sweet. And if they sit in the rain, they're going to melt. Men ain't so sweet, so they can sit in the rain and they're not going to melt. All right. No one laughed at that one except for Tim. I got a thumbs up by Diane. She agrees. All right. But even Liba didn't laugh. Usually I see real laughter from her. And all I see. Okay. The sick. Liba, are you there? No emojis? What's going on? All right, the sick and their attendants are freed from fulfilling the mitzvah of sukkah. This applies not only to the person who is dangerously ill, but also one who is a headache or a sore eye. Right? A person who is uncomfortable when dwelling in the sukkah is free from the obligation to fulfill the mitzvah of sukkah. This applies to the person himself, but not to his attendants.
That seems like a get out of jail free card. I'm uncomfortable in the sukkah. I don't have to sit in, what? Uncomfortable. So what? A lot of mitzvot are uncomfortable.
Okay, so good question. Let's just finish this and we'll explain it. A person who's uncomfortable when dwelling in a sukkah, a person who cannot sleep in a sukkah because of the wind or because of the flies or the mites and the like, or because of the smell. What is it? That's what it means. Yeah. It means like this, because the Torah says that sit in the sukkah like you sit at home. Well, if you're uncomfortable at home, guess what? You ain't sitting at home. If you've got a leaky roof, right? And it's coming pouring down into your bedroom. Guess what? You're not going to sleep in your bed. You're going to move out of there.
Yeah.
So just as you live in your home, you should live in your sukkah. That's the idea, right? So yeah, obviously, you know, gotta be honest about it, right? So that's why he says over here, what does it mean uncomfortable? So if you're Chabad customs, by the way, we don't sleep in the sukkah. Others do, because you're supposed to live in it the way you live at home. But that we do it because we're uncomfortable. Why are we uncomfortable? It's because it's such a holy place of sukkah that we're uncomfortable to sleep there. Not because we're uncomfortable, because the Rebbeim said so. So therefore, they said so. Therefore, we do so, and we're uncomfortable. We'd be uncomfortable if they told us to do something in a way that we would not. And right, but the idea is the uncomfort.
Yeah.
Right, because that's the way you live, and you're supposed to live in the sukkah the way you live at home. Okay. Again, obviously, it's got to be done with honesty, but that's, between you and Hashem. A mourner is obligated to fulfill the mitzvah of sukkah. A groom and his attendants and members of the wedding party are free from fulfilling the mitzvah of sukkah throughout the 7 days of the wedding festivities. They're free, by the way. Free doesn't mean that you don't have. You could still sit in the sukkah.
Yeah.
You can you could sit in the sukkah. It's not that you're not allowed to. When it means freed, because when you're engaged in one mitzvah, you are not obliged, you're absolved from another mitzvah, right? Except the mourner is obliged. Why? Because it's festival, and you're not allowed to mourn on a festival, right? So that mitzvah doesn't take precedence. Got it?
Yeah, exactly.
Obliged. Right, that's what I just said. Because you're not allowed to mourn. You're not allowed. Huh?
He's allowed to. He's obligated to fulfill the mitzvah of sukkah.
Yeah, that's what I just said. I explained why.
Even if it's a day of death, when he isn't obligated to do anything.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to mourn. You're not allowed to mourn on that on a holiday. Shabbos, you're not allowed to mourn. Holiday, you're not allowed to mourn.
Wow. So in those cases, that mitzvah trumps everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can mourn after.
You
can. Chol Hamoed, you don't sit shiva either.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't sit shiva Chol Hamoed.
Okay.
Right. You start sitting shiva after the holiday.
And then you do the morning, like the tearing of the clothes and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Like a week later.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Number 4, emissaries charged with a mission involving a mitzvah are free from fulfilling mitzvah sukkah both during the day and at night. Right there, people who journey during the day are free from fulfilling the mitzvah of sukkah during the day and are obligated at night. People who journey during the night are free from fulfilling the mitzvah of sukkah at night, but are obligated during the day. A city's day watchman is free from fulfilling the mitzvah of sukkah during the day. It's obligated at night because he's only a daytime watcher, right? It's night watchmen it's night watchmen, the city's night watchmen, right? They're guarding the city. So therefore they're not obliged. You're doing a mitzvah of guarding the city.
Yeah.
Right. Are freed from fulfilling the mitzvah of sukkah at night and are obligated during the day. The watchmen of gardens and orchards are free from fulfilling the mitzvah during the day and night because the watchman constructs a sukkah. Because if a watchman constructs a sukkah, a thief will realize that the watchman has a fixed place and he will go and steal from another place. Aha. So, right. So he's a watchman. He's got an obligation. It's interesting. Well, like the obligation here, it seems more private. I want to understand that. Guarding the city, that's for the inhabitants of the city. That I get. So if it was like comments it brings, if it was a watchman and I'm just guarding over here the produce. So I got to build a sukkah over here. I mean, outdoors and have a sukkah. But if it's like, fields all over, then I've got to walk around and go check and so on. So I can't build a sukkah, because if I'm going to build a sukkah, then a thief will see, okay. How must the mitzvah of dwelling in a sukkah be fulfilled? A person must eat, drink, and live in a sukkah throughout all 7 days of the festival, both during the day and night. In the same manner, he dwells in his home throughout the year, as we mentioned, right? During these 7 days, he might consider his house as a temporary dwelling and a sukkah as his permanent home. He shall dwell in a sukkah for 7 days. What does this imply? His attractive utensils and attractive bedding should be brought into the sukkah. His drinking utensils, cups, and crystal pitchers should be brought into the sukkah. However, utensils used for food, pans and plates, may be left outside the sukkah, right? Because that's not nice stuff. That's just, prep stuff. Maybe left outside the sukkah. A candelabra should be brought into the sukkah, right, to bring light. However, if the sukkah is small, it should be left outside the sukkah if it's not big enough. Number 6, he should eat, drink, and sleep in the sukkah through the 7 days of the festival, both during the day and night. It's forbidden to eat a meal outside of the sukkah for the entire 7-day period. However, there is no prohibition if one eats a snack, the measure of a kazayas or less, or even slightly more, right? So you can have a snack outside. Chabad custom, we don't even drink water outside of the sukkah, by the way. Chabad custom. Not everybody's careful with that, but that's the custom. One may not sleep outside the sukkah at all, even a brief nap. It is permissible to drink water and eat fruit outside of the sukkah. However, a person who follows the stringency of not drinking even water outside the sukkah is worthy of praise. And again, that's our very decided custom. Okay, eating in a sukkah on the first night of the festival is an obligation. If a person eats merely a kazayis of bread, he fulfills the obligation. Afterwards, the matter is left to one's volition. If one desires to eat a meal, one must eat it inside the sukkah. If one desires throughout the 7 days of the festival, one may eat only fruit or roasted grain outside of the sukkah. Same laws apply with regarding to eating a matzah on Pesach. Right? In other words, you're obliged the first night specifically. By the way, by us it's 2, right? Here he's speaking about biblical law, and therefore biblical law is only one night of Sukkot, right? But rabbinic law would be 2 nights. It is forbidden for a person to sit and eat with his head and the majority of the body inside the sukkah, while his table is in the home or outside of the sukkah. It is considered if you do not eat in the sukkah. Rather, the table must also be inside the sukkah. This was decreed lest one would be drawn after one's table. The law applies even a large sukkah, right? In other words, you got to make sure the table is inside the sukkah. Throughout the 7 days of the festival, the person should read in a sukkah. However, when he attempts to comprehend what he reads in depth and appreciate its details, he should do so outside of the sukkah so that his mind will be settled. Maybe in the sukkah he doesn't, can't concentrate as well. Yeah. When a person prays, he must pray inside the sukkah or outside the sukkah as he desires. Right? In other words, wherever you are going to be more focused, concentration on your prayers. If rain descends, a person may enter his home. When is one permitted to leave the sukkah? When even raindrops descend into the sukkah so that they would spoil a cooked dish, even a dish of beans, were they to fall into it. If a person was eating in a sukkah, the rain descended, and hence he entered his home, right? If the rain stops, we do not obligate him to return to the sukkah that entire night until he is finished eating. So again, that's the obligation, right? This is speaking about biblical obligation versus custom or custom, right? If a person was eating in a sukkah and rain descended, and hence he entered Okay, sorry, we did that, right. If he was sleeping and rain descended in the hands, he entered his home, we do not obligate him to return to his sukkah the entire night, should rain cease. Rather, he may remain sleeping in his house the entire night until dawn. Again, our custom and all these things. It's funny, when it comes to even water we drink in the sukkah, but sleeping we don't because it brings down makifim dabina. There's great divine lights that illuminate the sukkah that are very lofty and all-encompassing light. Infinite light of God, and therefore in that space being so profoundly divine, who could sleep in such a place? The halacha is not that way because halacha is not taking into consideration the mystical component, which is interesting. Why it wouldn't? Not clear on that. Number 11, a person should not take apart his sukkah after he finishes eating on the 7th day of sukkah, because it's a holiday still, right? However, from the afternoon on, he may take down his utensils and remove them, right? Not the sukkah, but the utensils he can remove from the sukkah. If he has no place to put the utensils, he should reduce its space to at least 4 handbreadths by 4 handbreadths. It has no place. Right? People have very small homes, they have very small sukkahs, and so on. If he has to eat later in the day, he must eat in the sukkah because the mitzvah extends throughout the 7 days. When a person enters a sukkah with the intention of sitting down throughout the 7 days of sukkahs, he should recite the following blessing of sitting. Asher kiddishanu b'mitzvos v'tzivanu leishei b'sukkah, to dwell in a sukkah. On the first night of the festival, one should recite the blessing of the sukkah and then the blessing of occasion, meaning shechianu, right? You recite in the first night. We do it also the second night in diaspora. One should recite all the blessings over the cup of wine, as he should recite Kiddush while standing, recite the blessing Leishei B'Sukkah, and then recite the blessing of Shechianu. So the first night you have 3 blessings. Actually, sorry, you have 4 blessings. You have Berei Pri Hagafen, you have for the holiday, right? You have to Shechianu and Leishei B'Sukkah. Or first night is Shechia. Yeah. It's custom in my teachers and the rabbis in Spain to recite Kiddush while standing on the first night of Sukkot, as explained. Okay. At present, when we celebrate the holidays for 2 days, we do on the Sukkah for 8 days. Right. So now he's speaking, that was all biblical law. Now he's going into the rabbinic, right? On the 8th day, which is the first day of the holiday, Shmini Atzeres, we do on the Sukkah, but we do not recite the Leishei B'Sukkah because it's a doubt, and blessings we don't make if there's a doubt. Right. Similar Tumtum and Androgynous never recite the blessing Leishei B'Sukkah because their obligation to perform the mitzvah is based on doubt, and a blessing is never recited when one is doubtful of one's obligations. Right? Because are they male or female? After the person finishes eating on the 8th day of Sukkot, he should take down his utensils and remove them. When a person has no place to put the utensils, the following rules apply. If the sukkah, it is a small sukkah, he should bring the candelabra into it. If it is a large sukkah, he should bring the pots, plates, and the like, and bring to mind that it is no longer acceptable and that the mitzvah is completed. Since the day is a holiday, one should not reduce the space and its space and nullify the space because it's still a holiday. It's Shmini Atzeres. Person who did not construct a sukkah before the holiday, whether intentionally or unintentionally, should construct a sukkah on Chol HaMoed. On a holiday, you can't construct a sukkah, right? Even though you need it for the holiday. Construct, you can't do it on holiday. One should even construct the sukkah in the final moments of the 7th day, because the mitzvah lasts throughout the 7th day. Right? You didn't do the whole holiday. Do it now. The wood on which the sukkah was constructed is forbidden to be used for other purposes on all 8 days of the festival. This applies to the wood, both the wood used for the walls and the wood used for the schach, right, on top. Throughout these 8 days, no benefit may be derived from it for other purposes. They are prohibited on the 8th day because the sukkah is muktzah. I mean, you can't deal with it, touch it. touch it, meaning to move it, and the entire seventh day, including the period Banish Moshe, since Muktzah during the period of Banish Moshe, it's Muktzah the entire day that follows. Last halacha, yeah. Similarly, it is forbidden to take food and beverages that were hung in the sukkah as decorations for all 8 days on the festival. However, if the time one hung the decorations, he made a condition, I will not refrain from using these during the period of Banish Moshe. He is entitled to use them whenever he desires because he did not set them aside, nor did he sanctify the sanctity of sukkah encompass them, nor are they considered part of it. Because just like the walls of the sukkah, you can't use, right? You can't move them around on a holiday. They're muktzah. So likewise, a decoration, if they're part of the sukkah. But if you made with a condition that I'm not making it part of the sukkah, so therefore, because people hang food and you want to use that food, whatever, you decided. So you have to have in mind that you're using it for that. Okay, we're going to do one halacha or over here. Chapter 7, the term the frond of a date palm employed by the Torah refers to the branches of the date palm as a sprout before the leaves separate and spread out in the various directions. Rather, they should be as a scepter. This is called a lulav. Okay, let's stop here.
Thank you, Rabbi.
All right, folks.
Yes, thank you. Have a good day.
We're going to have TRC today, okay, 4 o'clock. I'm going to send that out now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.